Thursday.
Plus, we're bringing you the weather extra on why we're seeing this summer-like storm pattern and what you can expect as we approach the final days of April.
Live on your side. First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
But first, check out this footage of storms from right here atop of Red Mountain. That was actually captured by me, Wes, meteorologist Lauren Linehan. And yes, I did not follow my own advice when thunder roars go indoors. I'm like, okay, if we can get that lightning strike, which we did, and it was really cool to see from far away, but really beautiful.
It was quite a view out there, but hey, you had 1 foot inside, right?
Yes,
so,
exactly.
And we're going to take you live right now to Fort Stockton, Texas, and this is where Ryan Carty, storm chaser, is out in the plains right now, providing storm spotting for active weather that's happening there. A strong storm. This is near the Fort Stockton, Texas area. They've been keeping a close eye on some of those severe storms happening. That's where the more organized severe weather risk has been happening over the past couple of days. But Ryan from Birmingport is a storm spotter, provides us with a lot of valuable information when we're tracking severe weather, but he's out in the Great Plains providing information now.
Yeah, definitely a different setup out there than here, Wes.
We'll follow along with Ryan's adventures, though, and we'll have more live views here on the Weather Extra throughout the week, but we certainly appreciate Ryan sharing that. We've had plenty of storms to spot around here, certainly today, Lauren. We had quite a bit of active weather. I want to take you live right now to Coldwater Mountain in East Alabama, and that's the view after a stormy day. A lot of turbulence out there. You can just see those clouds kind of have a wavy texture there, often a sign after you have those storms. And look at how things have really settled down across a good part of the area. We just have some clouds out there. There's some showers and storms in areas to the north. I was watching northern Etowah County, some of that stormy weather stretching back in towards Weiss Lake. Notice around Gadsden, north of you get into places like Duck Springs and towards Crossville. You can see a heavy rain, some lightning, and there's quite a bit of lightning around Weiss Lake right now, over towards Center and Cedar Bluff, Galesville area. You certainly don't want to be on the water with that lightning popping out there. And I'm watching, there was one storm that weakened, some leftover rain now pushing through Jasper. This is another round of wet weather across Walker County. We picked up some heavy rain around the Jasper area. And further south, there's a cluster of rain and storms that's south of Demopolis. It's struggling to build north. Some of the data suggesting that some of this may work its way into parts of Greene and Hale County over the next 60 minutes. As you can see here is forecast radar data, but not expecting any severe weather, at least out of that based on what I'm seeing right now. But what's next? There might be a storm or two, additional storm that might try to pop up, especially to the south where the atmosphere is a little bit warmer, more unstable. But storms will be likely the next 2 days. Now, there's a chance overnight tonight we might get some rain in here, and some of that could linger into tomorrow morning. If we have a lot of rain before lunchtime tomorrow, that could limit how much we see in the afternoon. But if we have a chance to really heat up, I do think the coverage in the afternoon tomorrow will be very high again. But the rain chances do look to back off some Saturday and Sunday. So making plans for the weekend, you can see there in the Saturday and Sunday only a 30% chance for showers and storms. But how much rain out there for today? Our weather watchers checking in, and you can see here over 3/4 of an inch of rain around, as I was mentioning, in Cherokee County. Tommy Stallings there, 79/100ths of an inch of rain today, and now more rain falling on top of that. Walker County at Cordova, Jennifer McAfee, over 2 inches of rain. Just down the road in Graysville, over 1.5 inches of rain from Debbie Alexander. Rimlap area, you see there 13/100ths of an inch of rain, but Stephen Duke, that was before that storm moved through earlier today, so we'll likely have an updated report. Not as much rain there from John King at Shelby County, but I know we had some heavy rain yesterday, and there's still a chance that we could see a few showers as we have this system that is stalled out across the state. And right now I want to go to Lauren. We've had this stalled front, Lauren. It looks like it's a summer-like pattern, very stagnant pattern, but there's really nothing to push all this out of here anytime soon.
Yeah, it's just not happening, Wes. So we're just really stuck in this summer-like pattern, as you said. So what is the culprit behind all of this? Well, Wes had just shown you that front that has been draped across central Alabama. That front, it serves as a focal point for shower and thunderstorm development. But when we look at fronts, they're at the surface. We also have to go higher up in the atmosphere to see what the setup is. And basically, there has been some moist flow. The weak upper level flow. It's been fairly weak, but there's been a lot of moisture that's been coming along. So we've had this southwesterly flow that has been pulling in moisture higher up in the atmosphere, and that has also helped to aid in thunderstorm development each day. So you have some passing disturbances, and you also have that front at the surface that can all create lift in the atmosphere. But let's just talk about why we have these storms to develop in the first place. Well, first, let's look at it on a smaller level. How do clouds form? They form from rising air. So during the day, the earth begins to heat up from the sun, and basically warm air is less dense, so it's going to want to rise. And so as warm air rises, eventually the farther up it goes, it begins to cool, and eventually it cools to the dew point. And once it cools, it condenses at a certain point at that condensation level, and that is where the base of the clouds begin. So you get that moisture squeezed out as that air is rising, and that's when clouds form. But when you actually get a thunderstorm, then you're in the cumulus stage of a thunderstorm development. This is when it begins. You get that warm air that is rising. So we've got this warm, humid pattern in place. You've got the warm air, you've got the moisture. That warm air rises, and that causes clouds to eventually form. Eventually, though, those clouds can keep growing. If we have enough rising motion in the atmosphere, this clouds can get much taller, and that's when thunderstorms can form. That's when you get that mature stage of a thunderstorm. You've got the air that's rising, but you also have a downdraft that develops, that cooler air that comes to the surface, and that comes to the surface in the way of rain. Eventually, as a thunderstorm begins to die out, it's dominated by downdrafts, that sinking air, and it begins to dissipate. So that warm, humid air, that rising air is what's been helping those thunderstorms to develop. But as we continue to see scattered showers and storms, meteorologist Matt Daniel joins us now with Richard Klaus of Walker County, Aries. Yesterday, we taught you the importance of the ham radio, and today we talk about how you can get involved with these important communication efforts.
Well, so if anyone at home's watching this and they're like, this sounds really interesting, what can they do to start getting interested in ham operations?
The one thing they can do is there's a book, and this can be bought off of Amazon. This comes from ARRL. I don't remember the cost. I think it's like $20. This is the technician license that you want to get into, and in the back of the book is actually the exam.
Okay.
And what they do is word for word, the way the exam is written, the way the questions are written. The only thing they'll do is, of course, rearrange the answers. But you can study this book. You can also download apps on your phone that will allow you to study, like ham.org. I studied just the correct answers. You know, don't study the 3 wrong answers on those, but study the correct answers. And I've known young people as young as 8 to study and get their technician license with this. So if they can, then pretty much everybody else can. I know if I can pass it, anybody can. So it's not rocket science.
Well, thank you so much for joining us right here on Weather Extra. Thank you for what you do, what everyone does when it comes to these critical emergency services. Like you said, cell phone towers can go out, and that's a way of communicating.
Absolutely. I've always tried to tell people whatever they needed, whether if it's a CB radio, ham, general mobile service, get some kind of backup service because those cell towers will go down.
That's why we always say have multiple ways to receive those warnings.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you again, Matt.
And this is really interesting to know that organization actually gives the license exam the second Saturday of each month at 9 p.m. and it takes place at the Red Cross building in Jasper. Well, in 30 seconds, we continue to track the wet weather that is moving across parts of Alabama and take you up to New Jersey, where the battle continues against those devastating wildfires. We'll be right back.
And welcome back in. Right now we are tracking some scattered showers and storms out there. It looks like over the next 24 hours what we're going to be seeing here with this rainfall, very scattered coverage. And tomorrow the rain chances stay elevated. But at the moment, this is a look at the next 2 hours. If you're about to head out the door, all these storms around northern Etowah and Cherokee County, that's going to continue lifting north. So we'll catch some breaks into East Alabama, but it looks like things really settling down for most areas, at least in the short term. We'll still need to watch it later on tonight. Might see some additional additional development, but based on what I'm seeing right here, not concerned about any significant storms anytime soon. We got that wet weather in here, catching another break right now, but again, this will all come back. If we don't see much rain later tonight, we're certainly going to see some development tomorrow, Lauren, as we track this wet weather.
Yeah, Wes, that's right. Well, taking you to a very different story across the country, up to New Jersey, where a state of emergency is underway. The Jones Road fire burning more than 10,000 acres in less than a day, which could be the largest wildfire the state has seen in years. The blaze is 40% contained, and Maribel Gonzalez has the latest on the fight against the flames.
This could very well end up being the largest wildfire in New Jersey in 20 years.
It's day 2 of a rapidly growing wildfire in southern New Jersey.
It was a dangerous wildfire moving quickly. It's pretty extreme conditions right now.
Tens of thousands of people are without power.
This morning, we were cleared to begin our damage assessments.
For hours on Tuesday, voluntary and mandatory evacuations were ordered for about 5,000 people.
There were 1,300 homes that were threatened during the course of fighting this fire.
And several road closures were in place to protect residents, including a portion of the Garden State Parkway, one of the state's main roadways, which has since reopened.
It's pretty scary because, you know, the house, you want to protect your house, but you got to get out.
Thankfully, no injuries have been reported and officials lifted all evacuation orders, but several businesses in an industrial park burned. The fire comes as New Jersey is under an official drought warning with well below average precipitation throughout the winter.
This year, we're at 662 wildfires with 16,572 acres burned.
To compare, by this time last year, the Garden State experienced less than half that number with 310 wildfires. Approximately 7,000 acres of New Jersey's forests are burnt each year. This week's fire has already surpassed the yearly average. The cause is under investigation. I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
Well, you know, we're talking about wildfires up in New Jersey, but last week was National Park Week and we had Earth Day yesterday. So one thing we really want to focus on going forward as we try to better protect our planet is how can we also better protect our national parks? And one thing that scientists are keeping a close eye on is how specifically will national parks warm in the future if we continue to see the climate being warmed by human causes. You know, the climate has always changed naturally. We go through these cyclical periods of warmer and cooler cycles, but what has happened since the Industrial Revolution is there has been a marked warming since then. And so we are seeing that reflected across national parks, and national parks in the U.S. get some of the greatest visitors. We're talking over millions of visitors a year. And I just want to show you what could happen if we continue on our current path of warming. So within the past 40 years or so, this is looking at from 1979 to 2012, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park is one of the, if not the most visited national park across the U.S. Within that period from 1979 to 2012, it saw 3 days that were hotter than they normally would be. So on average, 3 days a year, you would get temperatures above 83.4 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the average there in the summer. But by 2050, if we continue on the current warming trend, you could see 23 more days per year where you get that extreme heat. And then we'll also look at another popular national park, the Grand Canyon. Within this period from 1979 to 2012, you were looking about 4 days per year where you experience more extreme heat. But by 2050, you see you could get 16 plus days per year. And for perspective, Smoky Mountain National Park is in Tennessee, but Grand Canyon, when we're talking about hot for them, we're talking over 101 degrees. So how can you feel those climate change impacts at national parks? Well, of course, health risk. If you're walking around a national park and it's hotter than usual, people are going to be more susceptible to seeing heat-related illnesses. And then, of course, we were just talking about the wildfires in New Jersey. This is really valuable protected land. And so you could be seeing disruptions from things like wildfires and smoke, which you can be more prone to in extreme heat or extreme drought. And then if you have extreme weather events in terms of flooding, that could definitely cause some issues there as well. So it's something we'll be monitoring on Weather Extra.
All right, tracking the weather, we're going to be talking more about what you can expect for the final weekend of the month. And as we continue taking care of our planet, we tell you how you can make that step right from home. We'll be right back with more First Alert Weather Extra. And welcome back. Well, those storms earlier, look at all the hail that fell with that one storm that moved through Birmingham and lifted into northern Jefferson County. That's why a severe thunderstorm warning was issued earlier. That's from Joe Swanson on the First Alert Weather app. So you can share those videos. Of course, we want you safe out there. We've, at least right now, just some leftover clouds. Things have quieted down in Tuscaloosa right now. We have 76 degrees. The automated station at the airport showing sunshine, but obviously you see there's a lot of clouds out there right now, as well as Birmingham, mostly cloudy. Temperature at 69 degrees, and no storms in the Anniston area at this time. It's 76, but we do have clouds. Now, the chance of storms stays elevated through Friday. Talladega race weekend coming up. Not a major change on Sunday. We're still seeing highs in the 80s, plenty of breaks, and there's a chance that there might be a passing shower or storm. It's certainly not a washout, but the chance is there, so we'll need to watch it during the day. It looks like very spotty coverage. Right now, across most of the area, the weather's really settled down. A couple of leftover showers in far northern Jefferson County, but there's just some clouds out there, and it looks like we're going to stay in this unsettled pattern. As Lauren mentioned, we've got this west to southwest flow aloft, and that's transporting in a lot of moisture, but there's not enough upper support to kick all this out of here. So what's going to happen, we continue to see these waves of rain showers and storms that's going to be drifting through over the next couple days. First off, tonight there might be some showers that might return from the west direction. direction, so we'll keep that mention of a passing shower or storm in the forecast. But tomorrow, again, early in the day, there might be some wet weather. Today we had some storms firing up by late morning, and that's the case again tomorrow, especially in the afternoon. If we get that rain in and out of here a little bit sooner, kind of like what we're seeing right now, that'll help to stabilize things, so we'll catch another break heading into the evening. But the rain coverage stays very elevated tomorrow and Friday, but there's a chance this weekend we'll finally start to see some of that deeper moisture shift a bit further south. So Saturday and Sunday, rain chances a bit more isolated, widely scattered. Most areas look dry into the start of next week. As we go over to that 10-day forecast, you'll see the rain chances dropping off to 20% Monday and Tuesday. The warm weather's here to stay. Highs in the 80s, overnight lows in the 60s, and then we'll see those rain chances going up around the middle of next week. But I mentioned warm weather's here to stay, but for how long? Right now we'll go to Lauren as we go beyond the 7-day forecast.
Yeah, Wes, it really does look like that warm weather is not going anywhere anytime soon. As we look at our 6 to 10-day temperature outlook, this takes us from April 29th, so end of April, through early May, May 3rd. And this does show that here in the southeast, we are expecting to see above average temperatures. So we could very well once again see 80s continuing through the start of May. But what does that mean in terms of precipitation? We could still be seeing a wet pattern. So it looks like into early May, the possibility of more disturbances coming through that could lead to some scattered thunderstorm development. And oftentimes that's what we'll see as we get into the month of May. Sometimes we can see what are called northwest flow patterns set up. We've talked about them here on Weather Extra, and you can get these clusters of storms coming in from the northwest that push to the southeast. So let's see if we can spot any here on our futurecast beyond the 7-day. This is next Thursday, May 1st, showing some storm clusters moving through. This is when we have some southwest flow in the atmosphere. When you get that southwest flow, it pulls in all of that deep moisture from off of the Gulf. And so it looks like that could continue into the first weekend of April or of May. And then here we are, the first full week of May. We're looking at May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. So if you're going to be going out on Cinco de Mayo, it looks like right now there could potentially be some rain and storms around, and possibly seeing off and on rain and storms continuing each day that week. But as Earth Week continues, we want to bring you the Weather Extra on how you can better protect the planet. Advocates like Rachel Z. Miller, founder of the Rosalia Project for a Clean Ocean, says millions of plastic fibers shed from our clothes and are polluting the planet. Fox News' Ted Lindner takes a closer look at how you can help reduce the cycle.
You may not know it, but many clothing items like activewear, socks, sweaters, and more can contain plastic fibers.
Most of the clothing that we all wear is made out of synthetic or plastic-based materials. That may come as a surprise to people who kind of think about cotton t-shirts and wool and things like that. But the way it's all evolved is that the majority of our clothing is synthetic, and the majority of that is polyester.
And as these clothes are worn and washed, their tiny plastic fibers can break apart.
When they break off those tiny little pieces of tiny fibers, that's called microfiber, and when it ends up in our natural environment, that's microfiber pollution.
A single load of laundry can generate millions of microfiber bits that overwhelm wastewater plants, causing the fibers to spread throughout the environment.
We've found them in waterways from high alpine lakes to the middle of the ocean. We know that microfiber is flying around the air, and it's been found in the soil, and it's been found in creatures at all levels of the marine food web and beyond.
To see which of your clothes may be prone to shedding, press a piece of clear tape to an item before sticking the tape to a piece of white paper. Any stuck fibers should be more visible behind the tape. Meanwhile, washing your clothes less and spot cleaning more can help reduce microfiber pollution. But when it comes time to do the laundry, cold water is your best friend.
Then air drying as much as you can instead of using a dryer.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
Well, we told you to send in some photos on the weather app, and Wes, folks delivered. Look at this beautiful photo of a shelf cloud from over Birmingham.
Yeah, that storm put on quite the show as it moved in across the area, but Dorian sharing that on the weather app, we certainly appreciate it. Watch out tomorrow for more scattered storms. Rain chance updates tonight, first at 9.